Black-eyed children, also known as black-eyed kids, are paranormal creatures in American contemporary legend. They resemble children aged 6 to 16, with pale skin and completely black eyes. They are often reported hitchhiking, begging, or appearing on residential doorsteps. Although some tabloid sources claim that stories of black-eyed children date back to the 1980s, most sources trace the legend to 1996. This is when Texas reporter Brian Bethel posted about 2 encounters with black-eyed kids on a ghost-related mailing list. Bethel recounted meeting 2 such children in Abilene, Texas in 1996, and mentioned another similar encounter in Portland, Oregon. I work nights and go long periods of time without sleeping, so my mind playing tricks isn't super unusual. But this happened in broad daylight with other people around. I was repairing a condenser in a very standard-looking suburban neighborhood. Directly across the street was a mother playing in her driveway with her toddler. She was pushing him around in one of those plastic cars. I was walking back to my work van around the side of the house when I heard a shriek, like a noise that you hear and you know someone is being hurt. I took a very quick few steps to clear the corner of the house to see what was happening. Mother was across the street. She didn't seem to notice or hear or care. That's when I heard it again, but being in front of the house, I could pinpoint it a little better. My head snapped to the house directly to the right of the one the mother was in front of, and I saw a small child staring directly at me with its mouth wide open and eyes that seemed to be completely black all the way around its eye socket. I looked at the mother, sure she had to notice or at least hear the commotion. She didn't. The boy thing waved, not like in a come here motion, but more so acknowledging its awareness of me. I walked slowly back to the condenser and hid for maybe 5 minutes. When I came back around, it was gone, and the mother was carrying on like nothing had happened. When I went home and began to tell my girlfriend what had happened, she told me about black-eyed children. I don't know what I saw that day, but there was something so deeply upsetting about the entire situation that I hope I never see it again. It all started on a warm May night, May 28th to be exact. Nothing was out of the ordinary. My friends and I were playing video games on a school night, procrastinating homework, yelling at each other about who knows what. We grew tired of playing video games, so I signed off for the night. I don't live far from a general store, so I thought I might as well hop on my bike, ride there to get some cream soda and sunflower seeds. Just hang out, relax. So I did. The bike ride usually takes around 10 minutes. It consists of going through my neighborhood, a scary-ass bike trail, and then another neighborhood. I had my earbuds in. I got all the way to the store when I realized I didn't have my wallet. It was getting dark. I got back on my bike and started the ride home. Usually when I go back, I cut through a backyard instead of taking the trail. But for some reason, I felt compelled to go down the trail. As I rode down the trail, I heard an inhuman screech, like a mix between a bald eagle and a human scream. I, of course, looked towards where the sound came from. I saw an extremely skinny, super pale, and very tall figure get on all fours and start running at me. Now, when I say extremely skinny, I mean like it was skin and bones, and the legs and arms were super long. The face was nearly featureless, besides for a mouth and 2 black eyes. I got the hell out of there as fast as my bike could handle. I know I wasn't just imagining it. I now have my license and a car. I refuse to go down that trail when it's remotely close to dark out. moved out of my parents' house and stayed at my girlfriend's. We'd been together for 2 years. Whenever I came home from my job, sometimes my girlfriend wouldn't be there. Sometimes she would go to work early, so I would be alone with our 2 dogs. One time, I watched this video about black-eyed children. Real creepy. After watching it, I got really paranoid. I would lock the doors, the windows, close the blinds. One time I heard a knocking on the door. I thought it was my girlfriend coming home early. I checked through the peephole and saw 2 kids standing there, staring into my soul. They had pitch black eyes. They were yelling,
"Please, sir, we need help."
They just kept repeating that over and over and over. I told them to get off my property, but they just stood there. I went back into my bedroom to try to ignore the knocking. Eventually, they left. When my girlfriend came home, I told her what happened. She told me I was overreacting. It was probably just the kids down the street. I told her, why were their eyes pitch black then? She assured me I had nothing to worry about. The next day, I was home alone, and the same thing happened. Why were they here again? I went into the bedroom and ignored it as best I could. I didn't mention it to my girlfriend then. The next day, I installed cameras at the front and back doors. I also placed cameras inside the house. If they kept coming back, then I could show the police footage. And they came back. Knocking. I looked at the cameras, and for some reason, no footage showed up. I told my girlfriend about it this time. She said I was delirious, but I convinced her to stay home the next day, not to go to work. She did. And of course, there was no knocking. I stayed up the entire night, and we didn't hear anything. Nothing on the cameras. The knocking, the visits, they finally stopped. I'm glad. I thought I was losing my mind. Was this all real?